Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty. Well, I shouldn't tell you that yet because that's after the intro. But anyway, I hope you all had a good weekend. I need to turn this up because I can hear myself. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stupid shit over the weekend. And it's in some ways it's comical, but in some ways it's just sad. And I was planning on just doing a regular news day today, but I'm going to spend a good part of my day talking about stupid people. Oh, by the way, share the stream. And, that's not fair. That's not fair. I wouldn't say stupid people. Just people who don't know some basic facts because they're not getting their information straight from the nearest source to what they're talking about, but through various interpreters of that information. And unfortunately, for this whole the Rittenhouse trial and the Arbery, it's not the Arbery trial, it's the McMichael trial, but they're the ones who killed Ahmad Arbery, and a number of other things. So much of the information is filtered through media outlets, that just get basic facts wrong, or it in some cases I think they purposely get the facts wrong, I guess, or they don't go to the main source material, and they just go by assumptions, or the I call it the I heard syndrome. Yeah, I heard this. Well, that's completely wrong. But I heard it, from, that was I don't know where I heard it from. I guess I heard it from that news station, right? But when the news stations get something completely just incredibly wrong, that's the problem. And I'll talk about that after the intro, because I wrote a Twitter thread this weekend about that, because I'm arguing with people who just get basic facts of the Rittenhouse case wrong, and there's people getting basic facts of the Arbery case wrong, the McMichael case. I can't call it the Arbery case. Ahmad Arbery's not a trial. McMichael is. And I muted that. I'll unmute that. Here, you get to hear the music. Maybe. Come on. There we go. Oh, it stopped. Thank you, Chicago Mike, for sponsoring the show today. Oh, that's not adequate. There we go. Who says, stupid like calling the people that Rittenhouse shot as victims. That's one of them, but that's a minor one in my book. Because you think of, even if they're shithead perpetrators or antagonists or whatever you want to call them, you think of someone who died as a victim of something, even though they're a victim of their own stupidity. But that's so minor. They're assailants, and I suppose I guess I see where that can be easily rectified, is what you said there, because you generally don't call someone in so someone dies in a shootout with the FBI, and they die in the shootout with the FBI because they're having a shootout and they die, and you don't necessarily think of them as victims, you just think of them as a dead assailant. And now that trial is over, it's not really, you can't really call them victims, or they're going to try it in a civil suit, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, that's one of those examples that that certainly we can use. But oh boy, there are examples galore because people all over the internet don't know what the fun they're talking about. So anyway, we'll get to that and more after the intro. Johnny, please play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Monday, the 22nd of November, 2022. Got the turkeys thawing in the fridge, 2 of them, even though we're not. Now, here's the funny thing in my household. See, the boy and his girlfriend, who live in Denver now, they're not coming here for Thanksgiving this year, which is to our consternation. But you know, I get it. They're gonna swap holidays for this year because they don't live here anymore. It's not easy for them to just come here and drive to Fargo and then drive back here and whatever for all these holidays. So they're gonna do Thanksgiving here. They're gonna do Christmas here, and I'm not sure where they're doing Easter. I think that's a whole nother story. But anyway. But since we're not doing, we love cooking Thanksgiving dinner. We usually have 10, 12 people over for Thanksgiving, friends, neighbors, whatever, whoever doesn't have a place to go. Our friends, you know, some their families are way off from Neverland, and we have everybody at our house. But this year we're not doing it, and it's weird. It's just so strange for me not to be cooking for 10, 15 people, right? And what we're going to end up doing though. With our daughter, who obviously still lives in town with her husband, we're going to go spend it with his family. It'll be a hoot. I mean, but they do a little different because they have people that, all over the place and people work and they're just because of their work schedules. We're going out to brunch on Thanksgiving Day. But in our household, we have this habit, okay? So we always buy a turkey that we cook in advance and get that all ready. We carve that one all up, and we make basically what we do is we make an entire meal, and we make leftover boxes for everybody. So we make the leftovers in advance so that we can have our leftovers without having to figure out to box them up that day. So we make 2 meals usually. And when I got home, I don't know what I was doing. I was out doing something, and Lady Boomer went to the Sam's Club or whatever and got all this stuff and came back, and I look in the fridge and there's 2 turkeys thawing. So apparently we're still going to do the leftover plates for everybody that you would normally bring to here for Thanksgiving, and then so we'll give those out to all the same people we give them to, and except for my son because there's not going to make it, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. But then we have that sack of turkey, and I'm like, hey, what's the second turkey for? Probably we're going to use that one. We're going to cook that. We're going to make a big old batch of turkey wild rice soup, and we'll give out some of that too. So yeah, it is what, I love it. Nothing makes me happier than cooking Thanksgiving dinner. And so that's how it's going to roll. So anyway, I hope y'all have some plans, and I hope you have things to be thankful for. I mean, I honestly, everyone has things to be thankful for. I just think maybe you just got to realize that no matter how bad your life might be at any given time, there are still things to be thankful for. So I hope you all realize that. I hope you all, and it doesn't, Thanksgiving dinner is not the thing, you know what I mean? I mean, hopefully you'll have someone to be with on Thanksgiving Day because that's pretty much, it's weird because that's the only day that it seems like all, well, not all businesses, convenience stores, but all business kind of closed for some part of that day. You know, like restaurants generally open later in the day or close early or whatever. And there's, I don't know. But then again, the convenience store up the street always is open. And so, that's the other thing. We always take, the people who because I go to that convenience store, that's the Holiday Station store, almost every morning for coffee on my way to work. And so the last, I think 4 years in a row, we've brought in, those leftover boxes. We've always taken them to the people who work at that holiday store too, and they always appreciate that. But anyway, no, I don't do the deep fryer thing or this. I am gonna eventually get a smoker, and we'll do a smoked turkey too, but I haven't done that either. I just do a roasted turkey in the oven. And the key to having a good, nice, juicy turkey is to pay attention to that little red thing that pops out. And don't try to cook it too fast. Cook it slow. And when you take it out of the oven, don't carve it for at least a half hour to 45 minutes. Because if you carve it too soon, the steam goes out of the turkey too fast and it dries out very quickly. However, if you let it set for a half hour to 45 minutes, that steam reabsorbs into the turkey, into the meat, and a lot of the juices that are in the pan kind of absorb into the meat, and then you have a nice, juicy turkey, even the breast meat. So there you go. Anyway, that's the secret. And no matter how you cook it, do not carve it until you let it rest adequately. Trust me, I'm an expert. All right, let's say good morning to everyone in the chat today. How many people we got here? Oh, we got 30 people here. That's a good start. All right, it's a good start. I'm sure other people will be rolling in, but anyway, let's say good morning and then we'll get into the show. First in the chat today was our friend Thomas Cleaver. Kapow! You were here first. Thank you very much for being here, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who's here. Share the stream, by the way. Also, good morning, Somnambule Nation. Sheograt's in the house. Cracked. Good morning, Duck Dog. Remember, you got your mic on, so don't mute yourself when you go live. I got you. Avocados Diablis in the house. The Devil's Advocate. Jaded Clay. Can we just make a rule to live by? Just don't charge a guy holding a gun if they aren't pointing it at somebody. That's very good advice. Also, good morning, Mike Savage. Blarg. Aaron Meredith, how you doing? Also, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. Yes, good morning, Dogistan. Ronan Wolf is in the house. Also, good morning, Drayden's. Nice to see you back. Tyler F., thank you for retweeting the show. Chicago Mike, the first sponsor of the show today. Also, good morning to Let's Go Brandon, a.k.a. Renee Mayette. How you doing? Episkipos. I did it right. See, the first time I read it, almost every day I can get that right. It just takes me a while. A.k.a. is 5Z. Also, good morning, Select a Boy. Yeah, and, boy. Maddie's in the house also. Oh, get a little trucker. Wait, trucker horn. Oh, no. What did I do? Oh, my God. That was not planned. And now I can't turn it off. Hang on a second. Okay, I don't even understand what the hell they're saying. Let's fix this again. Jesus, what did I do? Maddie is in the house, who's probably nearby Ronan. Nice to see you. Also, good morning, too. Did I get everybody yet? Trippy Liberty's in the house. What's up, my friend? Buster's Outlaws, Attack Alpaca, Jason Arnold, nice to have you. Hate Camel, one of the original viewers of the Morning Night Live, D.I. Freighter Watcher, K. Shull, and James PFP's in the house. Nice to see you. Zombie Teddy, also one of the early viewers and adopters of the Morning Night Live. Let's see. I get Attack Alpaca, Plague Dr. Zach, a.k.a. Zach Osborne. And it skipped, and I may have missed you, but I'll figure it out eventually. But anyway, welcome, everybody. Oh, Special K on Acid's here. One of Lady Boomer's favorite chat meisters. Anyway, so I hope you're having a great day. Let's get into the news. Now, I haven't watched the Ahmad Arbery case as closely as I have the Kyle Rittenhouse case, but if you're not aware, the closing arguments are underway this morning. Here's the, oh, well, that's not anything. Well, that's dumb. Let's try this and this. There we go. The New York Post says closing arguments are set Monday in the high-profile trial of 3 white men charged in killing of a black jogger, Ahmad Arbery, in Georgia. I'm completely done with the jogger jokes after watching this trial. Okay, and you'll learn why pretty soon. That's so irrelevant to this case after we learn some things about the McMichaels, who I believe will be in prison within a very short amount of time here. Defense attorney for Travis McMichael, who fired the gun which killed Arbery, 25, on February 23rd, 2020, and his father, Gregory McMichael, were readying to make their final pleas to jurors after 10 days of trial testimony. Travis McMichael testified Thursday. He shot Arbery dead while defending himself during a struggle over a shotgun. A neighbor, William Roddy Bryan, recorded a video of McMichael opening fire and killing the black man they suspected of a prior burglary. Let me give you a key phrase in that sentence. The key phrase in that sentence: a man they suspected of a prior burglary. The McMichaels and Bryan, I'll get to that in a minute. The McMichaels and Bryan were not arrested until more than 2 months later after the video leaked online. All 3 have pled not guilty to malice murder and felony murder. Authorities said Arbery was unarmed at the time, and the relatives have characterized his killing as a lynching, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. The jurors, 11 white men and one lone black man, will weigh whether the McMichaels and Bryan were justified in their efforts to detain Arbery under Georgia's citizen arrest law, which was largely repealed in the wake of the slaying, the newspaper reported. But it wasn't when it happened. We'll get there. We'll get there. Is there any more in there? Arbery had visited a home under construction at least 5 times prior to the fatal shooting, but prosecutors said there's no proof he ever took anything from the site. They claim that Michaels and Bryan kept him from leaving the neighborhood and killed him after chasing him for 5 minutes. It was longer than that, I think. I'm not sure if the video has that. Testifying Thursday, Travis McMichael said he tried to de-escalate the incident when he chased Arbery through his neighborhood and then made a life or death decision to shoot him as Arbery grabbed his gun. Travis McMichael, let's see, and that's the end of the article, the Post. Now, I've watched. I'm going to admit, I've only watched snippets from this trial via Nate the lawyer because I was busy watching the Kyle Rittenhouse case. However, I am going to watch the closing arguments today, just like I've done with that case. By when I leave here, I'll put it on 1.5 speed and try to catch up on that. And it's Monday, so I can't really go back and watch the entire trial. I'm going to watch. There are some key parts. If you go to Nate the lawyer, he brings out the key parts. Him and in fact, who is he talking to today? Who does he have on? He has while they're watching closing arguments. I think I have this still up here. Oh, he's got looks like he's got Uncivil Law, Legal Mindset, and Viva Fry with him today. And this prosecutor's she's going through a detailed she says she's going to go 3 hours. Now, I got to tell you, we're going to go back and watch part of Nate's video on this from Friday, and it'll explain exactly why the McMichaels are probably going to go to jail. And they should go to jail based on the law, based on a lot of things. But we'll get back to that. Let me catch this sponsored chat though real quick. Fix that. All right. Thank you, Baby Vaso. And Baby Vaso,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Thank you, sir. Oh, madam, I don't know if you're a sir. I have no idea. I just know you're Baby Vaso. I've never asked if you were male or female, but either way, thank you for sponsoring the show. Who says, what are you going to do with these Antifa types, man? I keep hearing people reference Yuri Bezanov And that's fine. We all understand his message, but he also said it would take a generation to undo this level of damage. So what? 16 more years of Antifa? I really don't know. And I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% sure what that's a reference to. I didn't catch that, but oh, wait, what? So yeah, to chat, I decided to definitely listen to Marty's show this morning, not because crazy Thanksgiving, but number 709. Oh, okay, cool. I appreciate you being here. So let's go to just this part of Nate's video, because this is where, let's see, we'll go right here. We'll start about here. Well, we'll watch this first part because it's very telling. So let's watch Nate the lawyer here talking about this.
Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. So the Ahmad Arbery case comes down to one key question: were the McMichaels conducting a lawful citizen's arrest? See, when they were attempting to detain Mr. Arbery, they needed a reason, a legal reason, why they can detain another citizen and deprive him of his rights. So the defense's theory of the case has always been simple. They were trying to conduct a citizen's arrest.
Two things. The defense, by the way, citizen arrest is one of the things, and then self-defense is the other. Now, he might say this, I think he does, but if they're not making a lawful citizen's arrest. Hello, Ty Alexander. Nice to see you. Am I saying that right? Is it Tyr or Tyre? Ty. Let me know. Spell it phonetically for me so I get it right from now on. If the citizen's arrest part is very important, because that's if they're not making lawful citizen's arrest, and they end up cornering this guy who's running down the street, regardless of what he's running for. That's a major problem in this case, even under the former citizen's arrest law. Nate will explain.
Lawful citizen's arrest. You're looking at the arrest by person statute. Now, this is actually a defense exhibit from their opening statements. Now, the first sentence is clear. A private person may arrest an offender if the offense is committed in his presence or within his immediate knowledge. Then there's a second sentence.
If you didn't catch that, in his presence or within his immediate knowledge. Ooh, that's tough, because they also testified that they didn't commit in his presence or his immediate knowledge. And here's the rest.
Which is highlighted here, that says if the offense is a felony and the offender is escaping or attempting to escape, a private person may arrest him upon reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion. So now the defense's argument is that, hey, that first section doesn't apply to them, right? It doesn't apply.
Yeah, doesn't.
What does apply is this second section. Here is the defense attorney explaining the defense's theory of the case.
Second sentence the state didn't tell you about.
That's really
Second
loud.
sentence
Sorry,
is,
guys.
if the offense is a felony
That should be better.
and the offender
Sorry,
is
headphone
escaping
wearers.
or attempting to escape, a private person may arrest him upon reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion.
Now, think about this, though. And the first time I saw this, I went, well, wait a minute. If the offense is a felony and the offender is escaping, even if you only took this section by itself, wouldn't they have to have at least some evidence of a felony? Okay. So let's say Ahmad Arbery was in fact trespassing, and if he was in fact, even if he had broken something or taken something from the property, is that a felony? And how would they be able to assume he committed a felony? Now, plus, in order to take something from, let's say he took something for the property, well, normally there's some value limits, that would turn something from a misdemeanor into a felony. Oh, it's tyrant. Full thing is tyrant, Alexander. Okay, cool. So tyrant or tie. Okay, cool. I'll that now I know that. Thank you. Remember, they're chasing Arbery down the street. He's not carrying anything. So in order to be a felony, you have to steal something pretty damn expensive, and he's not carrying. He's running down the street with nothing. So that part got me even before something the judge is going to tell you. But here we go.
That's why Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael.
And the other thing too is the defense attorney. I've watched some of it, not as much as the Rittenhouse case. The defense attorney never says anything about, he was committing a felony and then he was escaping or attempting to escape. They're not probable grounds of suspicion. Well, wait a minute. What felony did they have probable grounds of suspicion for? They don't. I made the jogger jokes myself, but wait a minute. What citizen's arrest? Anyway, let's go. I'm sorry.
Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael sought to detain Ahmad Arbery.
What felony did they witness?
There was no crime committed in their presence.
But what felony were they suspected of?
There was a crime committed in their presence. But there was probable cause to believe a felony had been committed.
What felony? That's what I don't get. Trespassing, I'm pretty confident that trespassing is not a felony in any part of the United States of America, not even in Washington, D.C., for the knuckleheads who went in the Capitol building on January 6th. None of them were charged with felony trespassing. Misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. They also didn't witness anything, but I'll get to that. I'll let Nate do that for you.
And that this man was attempting to escape or flee.
Okay.
That's why citizen's arrest is in this case.
Oh. Now, you know what this reminds me of, man? This reminds me of, in the Rittenhouse case, the prosecution trying to argue that Kyle Rittenhouse was not legally carrying the rifle, right? Because they read this part of the statute, but this doesn't apply, hunting, blah, 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 without actually reading the statute as a whole. I'm sorry. I am foreshadowing right now.
As you can see, the defense attorney is making it very clear that they can see the first part of the statute. This didn't happen in their presence, and they didn't have any immediate knowledge of it. Their sole argument for the lawfulness of their citizen's arrest is based on this second sentence. But now, the judge has to now charge the jury through jury instructions. So, does the judge just say, okay, the second part of the statute applies and the first part doesn't? Or do both apply? Well, here's what the judge had to say about it.
Tell you how the court's going to charge this. I don't read the statute the same way as the defense. I read into the statute. The first line addresses both felonies and misdemeanors. The second sentence narrows that then down to felonies. It doesn't discount misdemeanors. It just says in the case of felonies, if there's an escape going on, then the arrest can be effectuated. The way I read that is if it's a misdemeanor, the guy can be arrested, gal, whoever it is, can be arrested by whoever is effectuating the citizen's arrest. But if they run, then you can't go chasing after misdemeanors. In the case of a felony, you can. And a person who is chasing somebody who's escaping on a felony that is justified upon reasonable and probable grounds for suspicion can effectuate the arrest. So the charge that I am going to provide, I'm going to amend a little bit from the state's language, and that is that a private citizen's warrantless arrest must occur immediately after the perpetration of the offense, or in the case of a felony, during the escape. If the observer fails to make an arrest immediately after the commission of the offense or during escape in the case of a felony, his power to do so is extinguished. I'm not going to comment on the legality or illegality, so I'm putting a period at the end of extinguished and removing the and a subsequent.
Okay, enough. I think you get the point. The first part must be met. And the only way you would know if the offense is a felony is if the offense is committed in his presence or within his immediate knowledge. Now, I see your question up here. Hindsight is 2020. They should have never been there, and he should have never reached for their gun. He should have waited for the police and sue them for all they are worth. That is true. However, I can understand perhaps why, if you see the chase and you see how they go pin him down and then the one guy comes out with his gun, why perhaps he was fearing for his own life and was trying to act in self-defense to reach for the gun and whatnot. That you're right. That's all hindsight. And I think, but in this case, the problem for the McMichaels is that this is not a legal citizen's arrest. And so the aftermath of this, they're liable for the aftermath of this illegal citizen's arrest. They're toast as far as I'm concerned. Because they had no business, and no matter, and if the parts of the trial that I've been seeing, they had no idea. I mean, they literally said, nope, we didn't know. We heard from a friend. I heard it from a friend. Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You were jogging around. And that's all. That's all. They didn't know. They just assumed. And when you assume, you might shoot the wrong motherfucker who grabs your gun. I'm just saying. So, it's like, and the reason I wanted to bring this up today is it's because it's in the theme of I heard. We chased him because I heard he might have done something. Or we chased him because, they'd seen him in the house before and he might have done something. I heard he did this. So we chased him with guns and hit him with the truck and pinned him and cornered him and he didn't want to, we were going to question him and he didn't want to talk to us. It's like, well, let's just say he, let's say he didn't do anything wrong other than he was just checking out the house. Because also in this trial, we learned that, yes, he'd been seen in the house before. He'd been seen on the video before, but he went in and looked around and didn't disturb anything. But there was another couple who had been walking through the house that they had on video that had stolen some shit, but they don't have any evidence of him stealing shit. Based on the video they have, he's just in there looking around. And, look, I say this, I laugh because I often say, when I see houses being built, I sometimes stop and go inside of them just to see what's going on and what kind of floor plan it's going to have and yada, yada. Yeah, I've been doing that since I was a kid. When I was growing up in a neighborhood because we were in a brand new neighborhood that my parents and some other people got together and kind of made this co-op neighborhood. And not co-op, but just a planned neighborhood that my parents was involved in. And so they were always building houses in our neighborhood. Me and my friends would go in every freaking house. And, and by the way, never play in a house that's being built. You might accidentally put a nail through your hand. Anyway, long story. But I do it now. There's houses being built in my town because, the Metro's run out of rooms. They're doing a ton of building where I live now. And I'll go look and see what the floor plan is or go, oh man, this is a giant garage. So I'm like, if someone just starts chasing me with shotguns on the pickup and there's 3 of them and there's one of me, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then one jumps out of the truck with gun in hand. It's like, because, we want to ask you questions. Kiss my ass. That's what I'd be saying. Yes, P delinquent night. That's what changing it from P dog to P delinquent. But so I'm just, come on, man. there's no evidence that Ahmad Arbery did anything wrong other than go into a house that's being built. And I'm sorry. This is, as I've learned more and more about this case, I'm like, oh shit, these dudes they're going to be spending some time in prison. Now, I don't know all I know there's multiple charges on each count or whatever, or multiple layers of each count. But that little fact about the citizen's arrest is going to be a problem for these guys. So, and good. You know what? Don't go around making citizens arrest if you don't know what's happening. I just got to say it. Anyway, y'all not taking me alive, right? That's exactly. I'm like, woo, but put your gun down, dumbass. What the hell do you want? I mean, I might have handled it. I'm not going to rush someone with a shotgun, but I'm going to be looking at him like, have you lost your damn mind? What's wrong with you? Anyway, but I'm a fine, upstanding citizen, so no one would ever do that to me. Anyway, all right. Let's move on to more stupid people. Oh, by the way, so this thing that happened in Waukesha, Wisconsin, you know, I'm trying to avoid jumping to conclusions. I noticed some people last night, late in the afternoon yesterday when this happened, we're coming to all kinds of wild conclusions about it. And for me right now, it's all I saw were tweets about it for a long time. You know what's funny too? Twitter was way ahead of the news on this story. I mean, it was weird that the major nets, the cable, talking heads who have teleprompters written for them. I was hearing about this at least an hour before any of the nets got to it. And one of the reasons I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it today is the same reason that I make fun of people who get things about the Kyle Rittenhouse case wrong. Because, one, the news networks are unreliable. And I don't care which one you're talking about. I don't care if you're talking about CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, the OANs of the world or whatever. Although it's funny because Jack Posobiec really was and I'm not a fan of Jack Posobiec just because of his little stunt back at the Shakespeare in the Park thing. But he's the only one who had the Kyle Rittenhouse thing correct as far as his reporting on it. Now, and anyone, I'll see what everyone says, but I'm not going to make a judgment until I know facts. There were people who were talking about it being a terrorist attack and, the car of the van of peace kind of shit. There was some like, it was, there was shootout and and people were shooting at people in the crowd. Don't know that for sure. I know that people were injured or got hit. At this point, I know people got hit by cars, but early on it was just that was that game of telephone, right? And everyone's just guessing and, this was retaliation for Rittenhouse and this and that. I don't know. And we're probably not going to know for a few days at least, and maybe longer than that. But they do have one of the suspects in custody. Laura Loomer's Dirty Bloomers, yeah. Oh God, she's a piece of work. But if you look at it was it because I heard everything from it being a police chase, and then because you notice I saw a video of this from the road level, and where the thing's speeding by the parade and it's not hitting anybody. And they went right by this little girl that's in the street during the parade. I'm like, oh shit, I'm glad they didn't hit that girl. But then they end up hitting all these other people. But I don't know if it's a chase, if they're running and so we're going to get mixed ideas. So it's the, it's the 3 to 5 day rule on this one for me, but I will update you on what they're saying. It's, for example, this is CNN. They have, let me make this so you can see it. There you go. This is the Twitter thing. Now here's U.S. National News Live. 5 people dead and dozens injured after a car drives through a parade in Wisconsin. Police say, warning the timeline below may contain some sensitive material. At least 5 people were killed and more than 40 others were injured after an SUV drove through a Christmas parade. They had to get that SUV in there. They hate them SUVs, the SUV of death. Anyway, drove through a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I've been to Waukesha a few times, by the way. On Sunday, according to local law enforcement. Follow here for the latest. Waukesha police revised casualty totals in social media posts early on Monday. Police said a person of interest is in custody and that an SUV has been recovered. Law enforcement will hold media briefing at 1 p.m. local time on Monday. So that'd be 2 o'clock Eastern time for you people who use the East Coast as your abacus. That really didn't make sense, but you know what I mean. So here's the CNN report. Let's see how they are spinning it.
CNN's Natasha Chen joins us now from the scene in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Natasha, police describing having a person in custody this morning. Do we know any more information about whether this person is a suspect?
Yeah, and Jim and Erica, they used the term person of interest last night in a couple of press conferences. They wouldn't say much more about that person. There were some reporters next to me who were asking, well, did they say anything to you when they were taken into custody? Very tight-lipped.
This is the part that this part right here. See this kid here and these people here? So this person isn't trying to hit anybody yet. Right? Watch what happens. It just goes right by this without hitting anybody. But I'm like, oh my God, look how close that little girl is to this. Where's the play button?
Update. But where we are right now is over by Main Street. You can actually see this was the parade route, and there are items, belongings from people that were abandoned in a hurry. They're strewn across the street. Police markings on the ground there. So this is still very much closed off.
Now notice that's where,
and as we were,
looks like that's where turned. That's not the. I don't know if that's the location where they turned or what, but that's where they hit people farther down the street.
Talking about this red SUV hit the first group of people about 3 blocks east of where we are right now, hitting a marching band. Some of those horrifying descriptions that the witnesses talked about. Here's one witness who talked to Good Morning America today about.
And again, regardless of what you hear in the reports, wait, please. And Good Morning America. Yeah, remember how accurate and very probing Good Morning America was about let's see, Jussie Smollett, Nick Sandmann, Kyle Rittenhouse,
just shocking moments when that red SUV came plowing through the crowd.
You know what? I've just noticed the lower right-hand corner of this. Coming soon on CNN, closing arguments in Georgia jogger murder trial. How about instead McMichael trial? Please. Georgia jogger. Anyway, sorry, that was a distraction.
I didn't get any sleep last night. I kept replaying what I witnessed and what could have potentially happened to myself and my children. All of a sudden I heard screams and chaos coming from my right, and that caught my attention. I looked over and I saw an SUV coming towards us relatively quickly, and I knew that wasn't part of the parade, and I knew something was wrong.
Something very, very wrong.
I'm not sure why they showed that. I mean, yes, obviously something was wrong. But Okay, I'm just let it go because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know what happened. I didn't see a car chasing that car, but so I'm not sure why they were driving through there, going the opposite way of the parade. I don't know. Were they being chased or what? I didn't see anything chase them. But anyway, let's see what she says.
Remind folks that the basic information that we do have at this moment, 5 people at least have been killed, more than 40 people injured, which include children of a Catholic school, children in this area. Sources, again, say the investigators believe the suspect was actually fleeing another incident. Police do have a person of interest in custody. The local schools are closed today, and President Biden is receiving regular updates on this situation. Just want to also mention that one of the witnesses who talked to me last night said how in those terrifying moments, people, law enforcement, first responders jumped into action immediately. She was in an apartment building, and people pulled folks into the building to get them off the streets away from the threat. So a lot of people who did some very important heroic actions.
Okay, cool. So there were some heroes to be found. That's fantastic. Hi, Jeffrey Russell. Yes, good point. If you're one to pray, this would be a good time to pray for those people who killed and injured in Wisconsin. So that's all I know. And there's wild speculation going on all over the place. Wisconsin, let's see, here's TMG. This isn't speculation. This is one of the news stations in Wisconsin. Children's Wisconsin, the Children's Hospital, said it has treated 18 kids from the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. AFP, Americans were reeling Monday from an unthinkable tragedy after a driver slammed through barricades into a Christmas parade in the Midwestern city of Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing at least 5 people and wounding 40. Fox News 6. This is Daryl Brooks, the man the AP has identified as the person behind the wheel of the SUV that plowed through the Waukesha Christmas parade. Let's see, Jesus Ochoa, his wife Balin Santa Maria, and the 3-year-old daughter was supposed to take part in the Christmas parade in Waukesha, but the morning Santa Maria changed her mind because of sudden back pain that ended up saving them. Okay, Reuters, I know it seems to be of human interest, but I don't care about the people who weren't there. I want to know about the people who were there. So while it's interesting and maybe an interesting story 10, 12 weeks down the road, not now. Sorry, don't care. I care about the people who were there and were injured and or died and or close calls, who witnessed it. This person did not witness it. So, sorry, not relevant. And then Kristen Barbarisi, who's from... I don't know where she's from. She's an investigative reporter, Boston-born, Minnesota raised, St. Olaf, right down 30 miles from south of me, and Northwestern grad, fans of the Jet. Okay, I don't know who she is and why, but she's followed by Julio Rosas and some other people that I follow, so she's a reporter for somewhere. Anyway, Children's Hospital Wisconsin now say they treat 18 kids. Okay, we already know that. That's all I know. And I'm not going to speculate about... this guy at all. I don't know anything about him. I do not know. Daryl Brooks, that's his name. And the only thing is that there is some indication they might have been fleeing from another incident. Don't do the I heard thing. Let's get into I heard. Okay, and I don't mean like sheep. Thank you. I'll be here all show. Good morning, Patrice Ripley, by the way, our official K-pop aficionado of the Morning Night Live, and also T-Ball. What's happening? Mike was already here. Anyone else? I got Jeffrey Russell. I got this. Okay, we're doing okay. Oh, Woodcut. Oh, no. Why are you so angry in the house? Aaron Meredith, nice to see you. Cannon Hotep. Salute, sir. And so on and so forth. Okay. That's everybody who's here so far. By the way, while you're thinking about it, before I go on, hit the like. Oh, it looks like every one of you have hit the like button. There's more likes than people here, so that's a good thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Share the show before, during, and after the show. And if you want to sponsor the show, well, you know how that works. That's all down in the description down below. Or just watch at PDawgKnight.live, and you can't miss it. It'll be up in the corner of your screen, and the chat will be here, and the thing will be here, and it's like a one-stop shopping for the Morning Night Live. So anyway, all right, let's talk about. There's a hair in my mouth. Let's talk about I heard, and I don't mean sheep. I've already made that joke. It's not funny the second time. Let's. I spent a lot of time this weekend on Twitter because, just because Lady Boomer wasn't around and I was doing work, but I was like carrying my phone around and doing a lot of tweeting this weekend, which is not completely in my, like, I'll watch Twitter to see what's going on, but I don't spend a lot of time arguing with people. I spent the whole damn weekend arguing with people about the Rittenhouse case because there's just so much, just people who just don't have any idea what they're talking about. You know what I mean? It's almost embarrassing, some of the things that people are saying. And I know I don't know which show I talked about. It was my show, or if it was, it must have been, no, it was Monkey in the Morning or After Party or something like that with the Ranting Monkey. I was on that show, and we were just going through some of the stupid things people are saying and that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So at one point I got a little bit, I wouldn't say heated, but I got a little frustrated with this gentleman. And because he was clearly making factual misstatements, right? And so I finally asked the guy, I said, are you watching? Did you watch the trial? So here's where we were. This guy, well, Joe Scarborough, who completely botched his part of it, said the correct answer for president, regardless of political party, I didn't watch the trial, lends deference to the jury who watched every minute of it. The jury system works and we respect it. To paraphrase Churchill, it's the worst system other than every other one ever created. Now, I chuckled at that a little bit because Joe Scarborough, for a couple of days prior to that, was talking about how Kyle Rittenhouse shot 60 rounds into the crowd, which was, I would say a little bit factually challenged, right? And so I got to this guy, Donnie, and I got into it with him. And he said, I would have preferred he show support and deference to the jury process, but also recognize the dangerous precedent this sets, where someone can travel with the intent to provoke others and then claim self-defense. Now, that statement, I thought, well, that's an opinion, but how can you have an opinion if you watched the trial? So I asked, did you get that from watching the trial, the actual trial? And he says, no, I read the recaps, like 99% of everyone commenting on it, which caused me to lose my mind. Because, not so much because he wasn't right, but because he was right. No, I read the recaps like 99% of everyone else commenting it. Now, as you well know, I watched every minute of that trial. Every day I get done with the show, I'd put the trial on, I'd put it on 1.5 times speed, and during the day I would pause it when I was not able to listen, and then I put it back on when I was listening until the trial, from the start of the day to the end of the day, every day on this trial, because I was interested. I was also, it was fascinating listening to it on the, on the Rakita stream, because they had anywhere from 1 to 10 lawyers all, explaining and talking about the legal aspects and this and that and blah, 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 right? And it was very interesting to me. So I watched the entire trial, and that's where my opinions mostly came from, was the facts and whatever the trial. And when he said, no, I read the recaps, like 99% of everyone commenting on it, here's my commentary on that. Now, I'm going to read it from this because it reads like something I should be reading off a teleprompter, and I hope it doesn't bother you, but I'm reading it. Okay? I said, well, I watched the entire trial from start to finish, and your analysis resembles the recaps and the people playing telephone on the internet. If you know what telephone is, that game you play with your kid when you sit in a line and one person whispers something to somebody and then that person whispers it to the next person and that person whispers to the next person, so on and so forth. And the last person has to say what they thought the first person said, and it almost never matches, right? Because you only get one chance to tell the person next to you. It always somehow molds and changes, whatever. That's what Twitter has become regarding these trials. Oh, well, I saw somebody else watch it or see it, or someone else said it, blah, blah, blah. But nobody with any authority. But even if they had authority, I'm sorry. I'll get to that. So anyway, I watched the entire trial from start to finish, and your analysis resembles the recaps that he mentioned and the people playing telephone on the internet, but not the actual trial. I don't mean that as a slam. Your opinion, and that's what it is, comes from a myriad of partial truths and flat-out information from a variety of sources, including sources which are supposed to be objective news sources, but always bring these analysts who also get basic facts of the case wrong. I can't blame anyone who expects these sources to be correct and accurate, but when I watch the trial myself and I see a news source get something I've watched with my own eyes and ears blatantly wrong, I begin to wonder if their source is, I heard, instead of reporting on the actual trial or the actual trial itself. My favorite example we watched on this show, because it blew me away right at the very minute I heard it, was when Jonathan Capehart sat in for Joy Reid and began his report by saying, the unrest in Kenosha was following the death of Jacob Blake. I'm sure Jacob Blake would have been surprised to find out he died. Capehart read that off a teleprompter, and he or some writer wrote that. If you can't get a simple known fact like that correct for a news report, imagine how the unknown facts or the facts that don't fit your preconceived notions are reported. That's why on this one, I only relied on the trial. That's why I know Rittenhouse fired 8 rounds only at the 4 people who attacked him, as opposed to 60 rounds into the crowd, as Joe Scarborough opined. I could go on and on and on about the facts the media, and I mean all the media, got wrong on this case now that I've watched the trial myself. Both the prosecution and the defense witnesses bolstered Rittenhouse's case of self-defense, and anybody who actually watched the trial knew it, including the prosecution. But the recap you saw was likely only of the prosecution's side of the case when it was good for them. The networks don't like to be wrong. In fact, well, I'll get this second. Thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. And Maddie,
You are the new Streamlabs
Superstar
sponsor of
Chinese
the day.
Sorry about that Chinese asshole. That didn't have anything to do with it. Anyway, thank you, Maddie, with the 5 spot who says, whether it's I heard or telephone, one thing is glaringly obvious. They selected deaf and don't care to actually get facts straight. All they care about is stoking and maintaining outrage. I tend to concur with that. In fact, I'm giving you an extra bell, and thank you for sponsoring the show. I appreciate it. Wow, she was very excited. Okay, but the recap you likely saw was probably only the prosecution side of the case when it was good for them because the networks don't like to be wrong. In fact, 2 networks supposedly covering the trial during closing arguments broadcast the prosecution's closing arguments. And then they cut away when the defense began their closing arguments to show the signing of the Build Back Better bullshit bill. Oh, I think I accidentally added a word in there. Anyway, that is media malpractice for their viewers, who might not bother to go find it somewhere else. So they literally, MSNBC and CNN, literally, they broadcast the prosecution's closing arguments, and they cut away and didn't show the defense's closing arguments. So if you're watching one of those networks, and let's say that you're the only chance you had to watch any of the trial was the closing arguments. If you were watching one of those two networks, you only saw the prosecution's closing arguments. And then you got to watch Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all those people have a circle jerk over some shitbag bill, Build Back Better, butthole, bullshit, bonanza, buster, fluster, cuck, fuster, clusterfuck bill. Instead of the other part that you could put some balance to. That's media malpractice for their viewers who might not bother to go find it somewhere else. And that's why you have politicians, pundits, activists, and dumbass entertainers, including LeBron James and the Hulk dude. Was it the Hulk dude or was it Matthew Modine? It doesn't matter. All of the shitheads. All speaking out and saying the same stupid shit that has zero resemblance to the facts of the case from the actual trial. Because their only source is not the trial itself, but, well, I heard FTG, in my opinion. And it happened. It happened all weekend. There are still people. There's still people. I mean, this morning, I got people telling me that Kyle Rittenhouse carried his AR-15. Yes, Mark Ruffalo, that dickhead. Carried his AR-15 across state lines. I've got people still telling me, whose mother would drive their son across state lines to a protest he had no business being at? I still have people saying, well, he couldn't legally have that gun. It was an illegal gun. I still have people telling me that he was a white supremacist who is going to hunt Black Lives Matter protesters. There's a good one. I still have people. Full Metal Jacket. And he killed 30 black people. There are still people on the internet who think that all three of his victims were black. Or that they were even calling them Black Lives Matter protesters. Really? Now, it wasn't used in the trial. But isn't it weird how all four people who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse were criminals, criminal records, bona fide criminal records. It didn't have any bearing on the trial because, there's no way for Kyle to know that, right? But isn't it weird Oh, and by the way, I laugh because and that Kyle went there to be a vigilante. What's also kind of weird about this? Kessler, how you doing, man? I see you there. Brent Hayes, good morning. Asia Research Directorate, Fight for Our Rights. Nice to see all of you. The other fascinating thing that it's kind of just as I'm having arguments with people over that I'm watching the Arbery trial and just different things. It strikes me interesting too that from the trial, and not no other source other than from the trial, we figured out that at least, let's just go with Gage Grosscrotch, as Monkey calls him. Grosskreutz, I know. UNICEF, that guy. It's finally, I find it interesting that Gabe Grosskreutz chased Kyle Rittenhouse and pulled a gun on him, but didn't witness a shooting. But wouldn't that make him a vigilante? In fact, the three people who chased him after he killed Rosenbaum were all vigilantes, weren't they? Oh, but the media's making, the prosecution tried to make them to be heroes. And look, if in fact, I suppose you can make the argument that they were attempting to be heroes. But how is it that the only people who were attempting to be heroes were criminals? Did you think they were there to try to be a hero and apprehend him? Especially because remember how far they were from the police. They were less than 100 yards from the police, I think, at that point, right? Because that's the way Kyle Rittenhouse was running, right? He was running to the police. In fact, he told Grosskreutz, and this is from the trial. Nothing I say comes from anywhere but the trial. I don't listen to people on the internet about this anymore. Not even Sean Hannity and some people at Fox News got shit wrong about this, so I'm not listening to any of them. Prosobiec, I think, is the only one that I think has been accurate, at least during the trial. I don't know about before or whatever, but he's the only one who's been accurate during the trial that I can remember. But Prosobiec is just one of those people who I go, okay, you got this one right. What's his name? Something Jack. You got this one right, Jack. But he's running to the police line that's 100 yards away. He told Grosskreutz that. Where are you going? I'm going to the police. Of course, now Grosskreutz in trial said he heard that wrong. But so these are vigilantes. They're vigilantes, right? They're stopping him from running to the police. They know where the police are. He's running that way. I don't think they were there to stop him. I think they wanted to hurt him. I think they wanted to possibly kill him because other people said he shot someone. And he's one of those guys with the ARs they saw earlier. I think they wanted to kill him. I think Rosenbaum, based on the evidence from video evidence throughout the night and testimony from multiple people, the defense's witnesses, wanted to cause great bodily harm to Kyle Rittenhouse. And that gun be damned. I know there's so many people, like, I've been talking with this about this with the amazing Lucas more than once. I've called into his show and I was on his council that he has at 4 a.m. sometimes. And, he keeps saying that, well, no, that first, he said he murdered Rosenbaum. He concedes that the other 3 were self-defense, but he's saying he murdered Rosenbaum because he turned around so fast and just started shooting. Except, I don't know. Look, if someone is, you know that they have bad intent because you've heard them saying bad intent type things all evening, right? And you see them destroying things around you while you're walking around. You see the same guy just destroy. You know he's not up to any good. And then all of a sudden, you're carrying a rifle, and this motherfucker's charging at you like a raging bull. Okay, and you hear a gunshot, and he's still charging at you, and you turn and throw the gun, and he slows for a second, but then keeps charging at you, and then you get stuck in between some cars, and you turn around, and he's right there, and you turn, and he's lunging at you. Is there anyone who thinks that he had good intentions, like didn't want to cause you great bodily harm? I mean, he's charging at you when you have a weapon in your hands, lunging at you, and after you've shown him the weapon twice, you've retreated twice, and you kind of get caught, and then you turn around and he's jumping at you. What the fuck else would he be doing? And that's where some people are hung up. Well, or at least, that's where Lucas is hung up. It's like, well, you can't assume he was going to do great bodily harm. You already know he doesn't. He isn't armed. What the fuck does that matter? Do someone have to be armed to do great bodily harm? Do they? We already know that skateboard dude could have killed him because there's that incident in Santa Ana, California. Someone was killed getting hit in the head with a skateboard. So we know that's probably, he gives you that one, and he gives you Junk Kit Man, who made contact with his boot to Kyle Rittenhouse's face as he was kicking him, and took a jump kick, kicked him in the face, and Kyle got 2 shots but missed him. Now, the other thing, if he would have hit that guy, that was a black man, and they might, it would have wreaked havoc on this case even more. I think he's fortunate, I guess, in a way. Not fortunate is a relative term, that he only killed 2 white guys and injured a 3rd white guy. But anyway, and then obviously gross crotch, hands up. Kyle doesn't shoot, turns away. Kyle doesn't shoot, turns back with his weapon, pointing it at Kyle. Kyle shoots. UNICEF. Tessa Cunningham, how are you? Welcome to the show. How does anyone else think the FBI had a hand in getting the show started? And by the show, I mean riots. I didn't know how they used active shooter. That is a false flag term. Are you talking about in the Rittenhouse case? Hi to Rideos also. Good morning. I'm not sure I understand your question, Tessa. Didn't they let a bunch of felons out of jail at the beginning of all this? Oh, you know what? I do not know. You're talking about the riots in Kenosha? I don't know. I just know that a lot of people who like to protest these types of things made their way to Kenosha from Milwaukee, from Chicago, from suburbs of all around there. And that first night especially, there were reports of just people coming. I can't remember which interstate it is on the north shore of Lake Michigan, but the freeway that goes north up into Wisconsin all the way up to Milwaukee. I don't know. But there were obviously the 4 people who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse were all, let's just say, unsavory individuals. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's completely fascinating too. This is a protest, right? And I said this last week. I don't know why. I don't know why so many of my demographic are so adamant about this being an issue with Kyle Rittenhouse. Although I kind of do, but because the media is saying, oh, he killed people at a Black Lives Matter protest. Well, was this a Black Lives Matter protest? That's the other question I got, because, I have this thing about my 3 types of protesters towards these events. There's the people who come and actually protest and are there to talk about their cause, and they're there to talk about what they, what their grievance is, that, police brutality, whatever. That's what they're there for. And then there are the opportunists who see that there's a little bit of chaos and they can go steal some shit, right? They're opportunists, whatever. And then there's the anarchist type who think, oh, this is an opportunity to break shit. Those are three parts of the typical Black Lives Matter protest over the last year. But I don't consider group 3 protesters at all. They're not protesters. They're just out there to break shit and wreak havoc. And, Gage Grosscrotch and his, being part of the revolutionary communists, this and that, whatever he is. They say, he didn't say he was a member, but he spoke at their gatherings many times. Wink, wink. They're just there to break shit and wreak havoc. And I would think that people who organize Black Lives Matter protest, who are there genuinely because they believe in the cause that they have, whether or not you think it's accurate or not, that's not even, I don't care what you think about the Black Lives Matter, the actual protest part. But you would think they would be sick and tired of these, and I'm going to use this phrase just bear with me here. White interlopers coming in and breaking shit after their protests, because who gets blamed for that shit? Black Lives Matter does. So they have their protests where they're trying to bring awareness to a cause that they think is important. And then these people come in who just don't give a shit and start breaking shit and burning shit and, destroying other people's shit. I wouldn't want anything to fucking do with those people. And to be fair, there's a lot of Black Lives Matter people who don't want anything to do with those people. In this trial, the entire night, Joseph Rosenbaum was a complete and utter thorn in the side to the people who were there for another reason. He was constantly threatening people, wanting to fight people, wanting to get up in their face, and they're all pushing him back. Get out of here. Just get out of here. We don't want anything to do with him. Also in the trial, one of the guys with AR-15, one of those guys that was with Kyle Rittenhouse, I can't remember all their names, but he was even saying that, well, he knew some of the protesters. He did, and they were there just, keep order there too. And they weren't having a beef with the actual protesters. Now that some of them did and whatever, there's always, there's always a lot of animosity, whatever. The people who are protecting buildings, they were yelling at them back and forth, whatever. But, they weren't getting into any beefs. And these guys were out doing first aid for people who got hurt, whatever. But I would think the Black Lives Matter people would say, fuck that Rosenbaum guy. Glad he's dead. All he did was cause trouble the whole freaking night. But no. The way the media portrays it, this he's a family man, a father of 5. He was there to protest. Because he couldn't stay with his girlfriend because of a restraining order. Oh, didn't hear that part. Couldn't, because they, that's the other thing about watching the entire trial. When you watch trial, there's a difference between what the jury hears and what is said in the entire trial. So that evidence that he couldn't be there because the reason he was there, he walked 4 miles to go to it from his girlfriend's house after his girlfriend made him leave because of the restraining order. He has a restraining order. She does against him. That wasn't part of the trial, but it was part of the pre-trial conference and all that stuff. And the fact that he came from a mental hospital because he put him in there because he had thoughts of suicide. He was there because of some self-harm problems he was having. So he was in a mental hospital, self-harm, restraining order by the girlfriend, 5-time convicted child rape convictions, which why the fuck was he out? I don't even get that. How do you get out from that? None of that was on trial because here's why. There was no way for Kyle Rittenhouse to know that. So it really kind of was irrelevant. Now, as far as background evidence of why this guy's violent and why, some of it was relevant, some of it was not. So they couldn't use some of that. But people on the internet, some of these Hollywood fuck faces. Oh, poor JoJo. He was just trying to be a hero. Kiss my ass. Thank you, Chicago Mike, real quick. With the 5.56, a bullet straight out of Kyle Rittenhouse's gun. And Chicago Mike,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Thank you, sir. Who says the 4 people that attacked Rittenhouse have criminal records? You mean to tell me that there were bad people at the protest? No, shocker, right? Anyway, thank you, Chicago Mike. I appreciate you, brother. So anyway, oh my gosh, that rant took a long time. Oh, by the way, over the weekend, GunFox61 also sent me a donation message who says, and I don't think GunFox is here today, so I'll read this right now. Working 6 days a week kills you. I feel you, brother. I'm just started my 6-day-a-week time during this holiday season. Drink a beer for me. I can do that. Kyle Rittenhouse did use self-defense. Now, should he have been there? Debatable. Did the mayor, city council, and the police command cause it? Yes, because of their actions. Or lack of action caused it. Well, there you go. Thank you, GunFox61. I appreciate you, even though you're not here. If you watch the replay, cheers, brother. All right. All right. Now, speaking of which, oh, this is great. Wait till you see this, because this is from last night. This is from last night, and it's fascinating to see. Let me find this real quick. In the New York Post last night, this article. Let me just show you this. Where the hell is it? Oh my God. I can't believe how much I've been tweeting in the last 24 hours. Am I going to be able to find it? Oh, I know where it is. I'll put it. It's in my profile. Did I pin it? It's got to be close to the top. Here we go. Okay, now here's an interesting article in the New York Post, and we're going to finish with this because this is absolutely fascinating, and I tweeted about it, and we'll go through it a little bit. But see this lovely father and daughter combination here. This is I got to think of it. I'll read it in the name when we get there. Her name is Jade. She's 16 years old, and during the anti-Rittenhouse protest, the duo marched alongside the anti-Rittenhouse protesters with AR-15s. Fantastic. I have no problem with them out there making sure that nothing goes down. Good for them. But a 16-year-old girl, wait a minute. Is this 16-year-old girl wearing gloves and she has good trigger discipline? Oh my God, how could that be? This is in Wisconsin. She's carrying her AR-15 at 16 years old because she's legally allowed to do that under the law. But let's read the article because here's my point right before I even read this. So now this father-daughter duo was out protecting a restaurant and parking lot in Kenosha, carrying AR-15s the same night the group Kyle Rittenhouse was with was protecting the car source. But I thought only white supremacists did that. Now you may have missed that whole thing I said. So I'm gonna read this and I'll go back to my point here. Oh, come on. Let me get this. Okay, here we go. So here's the article in the New York Post. Like I said, we'll finish with thank you to Rideos, who says, the people I've talked to about Rittenhouse say they got their information from the news, and that's why they believed he was guilty. Thank you for sponsoring this show. That's freaking hilarious. Because, the news got information wrong constantly. Or they told you one snippet without telling you the competing snippet, or the snippet that made that one snippet not necessarily mean shit. I'm swearing a lot today. Hey, why are you so angry in the house? That's appropriate timing. Nice. Oh, no. Wait. Why are you so angry? You put LOL volunteers. No. I'm absolutely, I'm convinced. I have no problem with this, what I'm about to read here, but listen, armed father and daughter duo march along anti-Rittenhouse protests to protect them, right? Protesters upset over the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse marched in Kenosha Sunday in the presence of a Second Amendment supporting father and daughter duo, armed with AR-15s that they said were there to protect the demonstrators. Okay. If that's what he feels he needs and they were doing it responsibly, great. Fascinating she's wearing gloves though. But we do, here's a quote, "We just do security for different groups. We're doing favors for them," Eric Jordan, 50, told the Post while walking alongside his 16-year-old daughter, Jade, 16, with an AR-15. Wow, that's fascinating. Excuse me. Now, Jordan said he'd been training Jade to use firearms since she was 4, but only let her touch a weapon once she was 14. Good. That's responsible dad. Good. He said they were protecting a restaurant and 2 parking lots in the area on the night Rittenhouse shot 3 people, including 2 fatally amid protests for police misconduct. Whoa, what? They were protecting a restaurant and a parking lot with AR-15s on the very same night. I thought only white supremacists did that shit at Black Lives Matter's protest. How dare they, these black white supremacists, protecting a restaurant and parking lot from the police brutality protesters. The fuck you talking about? Rittenhouse claimed he fired in self-defense. Here's a kicker, and I'll get to you in a minute. I'm going to continue. Rittenhouse has claimed he fired in self-defense, although, quote, "I probably wouldn't have fired my weapon," Jade said. I probably wouldn't have fired my weapon. We'll get back to that. His father said the verdict, it is what it is. The jury did their job. This is America, he said. The Jordans said they had been invited by march organizers to protect participants who numbered about 75 in total. Wow, huge protest. Demonstrators carry signs with messages such as "the whole system is guilty" and "cops and fascists give license to kill in the USA." Well, and dickheads are charging at you when you have an AR-15. You might have some culpability. That's my personal opinion. The Reverend Jesse Jackson had been expected to attend the march, but did not make it. I think he was in a march in Chicago instead. Now, I'm just going to finish with my very appropriate Twitter analysis on this. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you would not get this gem of wisdom. Oh, by the way, over the weekend, I forgot, this is on my desk. I showed this when I was on Monkey in the Morning. I have a bottle of Rittenhouse rye whiskey, 100 proof straight rye whiskey. I just happen to have that on my desk here. That's interesting. Actually, I bought that for the amazing Lucas. I haven't told him I bought it for him yet, and he doesn't watch my show because he really doesn't know who the fuck I am. So, but I've been on his several times, and I'm looking to see if he has a post office box that I can send that to him. just because it's funny. Anyway, so again, I said, this father-daughter duo was out protecting a restaurant and parking lot in Kenosha, carrying AR-15s. The same night group Kyle Rittenhouse was with. The same group he was with was protecting the car source, but I thought it was only white supremacists did that. I've repeated that 3 times now. But here's the other point. I thought, but Jade probably wouldn't have fired her weapon. What if she was physically attacked? That's just strange. I suppose it's easy to say that in the hypothetical, but I really wonder if they watched the trial or just the media's artistic interpretation of the trial. But I'm glad that this dad has taught his daughter gun safety. That's fantastic. I'm not a gun owner, but I think that's great. If they're going to have guns, he needs to teach her gun safety, and he did. And so, well done, sir. I hope she never has to use it to defend herself from a psychopath Napoleon complex manlet who just got out of a mental hospital for self-destructive behavior, charging at her and diving at her weapon. Because she might just have to shoot in that situation. And on that note, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. Please hit the like button before you do anything else. And please, before, during, and after, you can share the stream. If you're watching a replay, put a comment in the comment section so I know you're here and I can say hi back, or at least put one of the little heart thingies next to you so I know, I knew you were here, that I was knowing you were here, so on and so forth. And if you want to sponsor the show, there's all sorts of ways to do that. But it's not necessary. I appreciate it. But again, show is free. If you can, great. If you can't, great. If you want to, great. If you don't want to, great. Just come and enjoy the show. Thanks for everyone who's participate in the chat. Thanks for the lurkers. You're just as important as the people in the chat to me. And that's all I got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to go. My name is Dawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.